The station where our veterans' voices are heard. MBR Talk.
Hey, thanks for supporting our channel by watching and listening.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
Theme song is gonna play and I don't want to have it playing in the background and I don't even know. So let's check and see if the Trench Talk theme is gonna play this week. There it is. You tuned into the FARRON DOZIER show on mbradio.us, Trench Talk edition, and Live Tour Sports. Catch me here Wednesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific time, only on mbradio.us. How did I do? Was that a good take? That might work. All right, good evening. Welcome to the FARRON DOZIER show on KCAA Radio, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Also streaming from the KCAA Radio.com website and mbradio.us. We gotta bless the show before we get started. Let's go. When I was in my mother's womb, I had a calling on my life to do something in the glory of God and marry it like a wife. Commit myself to his word and never be led astray. And when it's all over, when he comes, I'll be glad to see that day in the morning time. Do you remember studying sickle cell in biology class? What's the Count on Sickle Cell Trait Prevention is here to bring you awareness, education, and prevention conversations around the risk factors of this inherited gene. Visit wdconsct.org. All right, welcome to another episode of the FARRON DOZIER show right here on the Military Broadcast Radio Network. That's right, radio.us. Thank you for listening today. I've been asked to be a part of this grief conversation with my community, and let me tell you, yet another loss in our community. And so I don't even know what to say. Like, I met her last year, 2025. Genesis, let me bring up her page. Here. She experienced going through the bone marrow transplant and everything, and seemed to be successful at it. So when a person with sickle cell does a bone marrow transplant, they are still, the genotype is still going to be sickle cell. They're trait carriers. They still carry that inherited genes because that gene is inside the DNA, right? So they may not have crisis because of the bone marrow transplant or the stem cell transplant. However, the DNA is still producing that S gene. And so, long story short, she did the bone marrow transplant, seemed to be fine with it. Came to a friend of mine's organization to become a part of the sickle cell trait community because she wanted to learn about sickle cell trait. Had a whole sickle cell trait support group for people who were coming out of the bone marrow transplant community and learning about their new health experiences. But everybody's different. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. Everybody's different. But I understand, unfortunately, some things happened with her health, and there was just a post just a couple of days ago by her being in the hospital. Seemed like everything was fine, but unfortunately, she has transitioned. And, so our community is dealing with another loss. And just wanted to say to the family, thank you for the opportunity to share her stories, share her experiences. And like I said, it's very difficult for us as a community when we experience the loss of a friend in this work. Yeah, it's just different. It's difficult. It's a very difficult conversation to have. I really appreciate being asked to put these conversations all together. So, as we develop this episode for our sickle cell community and in this grief and loss conversation, if you are part of the community, sickle cell, and you have something you want to say or you want to share your experiences with our community members who grieve loss. And it's wild because I used to do a fallen soldier episode on my WDC radio show. I used to do an actual episode dedicated to fallen sickle cell soldiers, warriors. But yeah, in my space of grief with my dad, it's all that stuff. I was in a different mind space at that time. Now in my own grief journey, it's more relatable, especially parents. Not much I could really say about that right now. Just happened. Again, we thank the community for coming together, expressing the love and care for brothers and sisters. Some people in our community don't want to do that bone marrow transplant stem cell because they know who they are going to be in that identity outside of having sickle cell, right? So there are risk factors. They have to follow that person sometimes up to 15 years to see how that bone marrow transplant, that stem cell transplant, if it's effective or not, and how it's going to play out in that person's body. So as more of the details come out, we'll share more about our life experience. Get some people to come on and talk about that conversation. So I'm gonna play a PSA, come back, and then Ariane is here, and we're just gonna get right into it. If you've seen the social media posts at FARRON DOZIER show, we are continuing inside the Beatitudes, but there's another conversation that my teammate here brought up to the deck to discuss, and I'm totally in agreement with it. We need to peel these layers off, and there is a battle, the battle in the mind, and we point to this conversation called the ego. You hear it a lot. You hear the ego. You hear, what is it? What is that? Is the ego wrong? Is it right? Is it good? Is it bad? We're gonna peel off some of those layers on today's episode, and look at this topic as a duel of what's going on in the heart of us as people, right? And then we're going to see what the word has to say about that conversation, of course, because that's what we're talking about. Right? It's about how do we take our lives, put it up against our experiences and things that we know and we've learned inside this world, and then filter that through what God has to say about these conversations. And I'm just going to tell you straight up, there's peace on the other side of that conversation. You may not know that, or you may know that, but it's have you experienced that peace in the midst of the storm, right? And have you even looked at your ego, right? So we're gonna touch a little bit on those subjects there tonight. So let me play this PSA. He's down there in the deck already, ready to go. We'll bring him up, but again, this is brought to you by WDC on SCT.org, sickle cell trait awareness. I have sickle cell trait myself, if you're not familiar. The people in this PSA, these are our real life personal stories as they share their experience with sickle cell trait. And even the last gentleman was like, sickle cell, I thought that was a black gene. Yeah, well, you know what? The Hispanics is number 2 with sickle cell. It is a inherited gene. It is not a skin color. It's a blood condition, right? So it depends on where your family was born, your ancestors near the equator where malaria is present. You could also have that sickle cell trait gene, no matter what's your skin color or your background is, right? Because we're all blended today. So PSA, come back and get this episode started. I appreciate you. This is the FARRON DOZIER show. Oh, make sure you catch me Tuesdays on KCA Radio, 106.5 FM and 1050 AM in the Inland Empire. And soon we'll be streaming live here next week on TikTok live as well. So MB Radio is now setting us up to go live on TikTok during our shows. So we'll be streaming on, like, I think there's going to be 9 platforms live. So appreciate them for that. If you want to participate and donate to this organization, MB Radio, that QR code up there at the top, you can scan that. they provide all these platforms and services for us. We do contribute a portion of us being here, but 99% of it is donated by this organization, giving veterans a voice. So we appreciate you. We have brothers and sisters from all different branches and those family members as well. Yeah, so law enforcement, first responders, their family members, they're able to come here, find their voice, share their stories, share experiences, and have a space for their platform, their voice to be heard. All right. Again, shouts out to Genesis. Yeah, it's just definitely a tough loss in our communities. We pray for her family. They are able to find peace. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
I'm blessed, my brother. How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Hey, did you see the game last night?
Oh, that was a good game.
But did you see the shot?
I lost money from that shot.
Oh,
too,
man, that shot was cold,
I
man.
hated it, but it was good. Damn. What's in those jeans?
You really want to know?
I do.
Exhaustion, muscle spasms, asthmatic issues, unexpected sickle cell trait crises.
Damn. Are you serious? When I was young, I found out I had sickle cell trait. My mom's told me, but I ain't have no knowledge of it. But when I got older, I had a child, and the doctor told me my daughter has sickle cell trait. Do you know the facts that both parents have sickle cell trait? There's a 50% chance the child may have the trait, and 25% chance the child may have the disease.
Hey, that's what's the count. Do you know that 2.5 million people in the United States have sickle cell trait, 300 million people globally? I didn't find out I had sickle cell trait until I was in the Army, 10 years. Next thing you know, I had a sickle cell trait exertion site.
Sickle cell? I thought that was a black gene or something.
Nah, man, the Latin community is number 2. 1 out of 36,000 babies are being born with sickle cell disease. You could be Caucasian, Mediterranean, European. You gotta know your bloodline, man. There is an inherited gene in our community that has been forgotten. The name is sickle cell trait. WDCONSCT, also known as What's the Count, is out to bring awareness, education, and prevention to people all over the globe. Want more information? Call us now at 323-215-5384 or visit www.wdconsct.org. Welcome back to the Front Dozier Show on the Military Broadcast Radio Network, MB Radio. I usually play a song, but I'm going to hold off for the song. I'll play the song later. Again, thank you for tuning in. Let me change this. All right. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Man, it's amazing, dude. It's like every 2 weeks, it's always something that shows me that God is real. It's crazy. It's like, wow. So right now, pretty much after I done got this album out, in the sense of it's a continuous album. So instead of just releasing the album and then cutting it and then making another title, making a whole other project, I figured, well, everything is streamed anyway, and everything is always like, Spotify, all of them, they pretty much just put it up. So some artists just have singles everywhere. So it's not about albums anymore like it used to be.
Right.
And since I'm thinking about it like that, I'm like, now I see how the whole market is changing. So I'm like, you know, for the music, it's like it's not the same anymore. It's not like when we was coming up. Man, I still remember when we used to hit stop and record and stop just to get songs that we wanted on our radios. You know what I'm saying? That was our way of getting our own bootleg songs and stuff.
Right off the
Now
radio,
it's
right off the air.
Yeah, right, exactly. So now it's not even like that no more. Now everybody can just say, I like to hear a song that I made. Well, let me go ahead and put it in AI, and that's my performance studio now. So it's like it shuts down music studios in a lot of cases, possibly. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people could be like, I don't want to do all that work. I can just do it here. But at the same time, it's still work. Prompting is not a joke. That's I know coding and programming, so prompting is the same. It's not a joke. You gotta keep tapping in, and it don't sound right. You gotta scrap it and do it again, and it's like it gets the creative mind is hard into a whole nother area. You're not into just one thing. Like I gotta write this and write this down, or I gotta play this song and make this track up. Now you're doing all of it because you want the ear and the sound to be exactly the design that you have. So now it just puts us all in the director's seat, or it puts us all in the executive seat of what it is that we want to project out to the world. So
They even
it's a
got they even
blast.
got they even got microphones like High Song, man, that does everything studio quality, everything inside the microphone. So
See, I'm not going to even try to do that one. That's crazy. That means it's a sound room all in one thing.
everything in
Play
one. You can play your own tracks in the headphones and sing right into it. But the app puts it like you right in the studio, bro. I
See
saw.
what I mean? See what I mean? That sounds like a plan now. I don't know. My voice, I know that my voice, I'm getting older. I'm almost 50, so I'm 46 years old. So my voice is acting a little funny right now. It's like, yeah, we want to kind of keep the kid voice in you, and then we want to kind of make you sound like a rooster too. And it's like, dude, make up your mind. Either you're going to stay longevity or you just going to get old on me. And I sound like an old man. So
But
it's like,
that's part of the track, though.
right. Yo, son.
You got to get your own ad libs in there. Yeah,
Right.
come on. Uh huh.
Oh,
Uh huh. What?
right,
What?
right, right. It's like I'm like, you know what?
AI
AI is
can't do
gonna
that.
take over.
AI can't do that.
Right. AI does do that. Actually, it does the ad libs and everything. Wait, see, if you listen to the track and actually let me put them. Let me promote it up there. It's basically Samurai Paladin is my stage name now. It's pretty much just crossover from my worldly self and some my godly self. And it's definitely we're gonna get into that because it's also about the dual nature. It is the dual nature. And the one thing is with that I designed this out. I've been writing these songs for years. Like some of these songs are like 4 or 5 years old. And I haven't even gone back to the ones that I wrote that were like almost 20 years old. I'm about to put those in there next. And the whole point is, I'm not arguing the whole, well, you're not authentic because you didn't do it yourself. To be
Right.
honest with you, there's no artists out here that really did everything themselves. It's impossible. You got to have a rapper, you're going to have a producer. If you got a singer, you're going to have a producer. So to be honest with you, if I'm writing and the songwriter, and songwriters, all songwriters are really much hidden. There's a lot of artists out here, major artists, that took other people's song ideas, and if they're number one hits on the chart, don't think they're not getting paid for that.
Oh yeah, behind the
And
scenes.
exactly. So we just got to kind of chalk it up to see now it's to the point now where songwriters don't need to hide behind artists. They can just run straight through AI and spit it out there for you, so you can get the best idea of what they were talking about.
I
And
don't
that's
know.
kind of like putting.
I still got some challenges with AI, man. I still got some challenges with that. I have people in this business world, man, that feel like AI is gonna take away their jobs and maybe particular jobs maybe replace, but at the end of the day, AI cannot replace the human connection. It cannot replace that. It can produce a lot of stuff
No,
for us, documents and videos, and you say music, but that human connection cannot replace that. I'm sorry. You could ask questions about your mental health on it all day long to try to get some answers, but that human connection will never be.
well, when it comes to music and art, it's different because the even though AI is like a tool in itself, it's still going off the artist's mind. If I
Right,
don't tell it to do something, it's not going to do it.
right.
And the little that I give it, it's going to look like crap or it's not going to manifest fully to the precise vision that you have. The more that you know about the craft that you have, it becomes you,
Yeah.
just with a better amplified perfection of what you're trying to put together. So therefore, it's less time. That's all it is. But AI is still in our control. It's just like me taking a pencil. But yeah, remember how we used to have the big pens? But then we remember we got to like grammar school, high school, we had the pens where we had to change the colors,
Yeah.
but it was
That
still a
was my
pen,
favorite.
right?
That was my favorite
Yeah,
pen.
right. Yeah, exactly. It's your favorite pen, but it's still, even though it changes colors, it's still a pen. You're still using the pen.
Right.
So you can make your spelling words in multi-rainbow colors and piss off the teacher just because you wrote it 20 times. And and it was one of each color. And he's like, you know what, I'm not gonna take this. I said you do it. But whatever be the case, it doesn't matter. It's just you using the pen. So AI
That's
is
how you
just
look
one
at
of
it.
those.
That's how you.
Yeah,
That's how
AI.
you. The tool. It's a
I'm
tool.
telling you, exactly. It's just a tool for me.
Nothing to be
I'm
embarrassed about.
No, it isn't. I really isn't because to tell you the truth, everybody knows a lot. All my community, the people who I'm connected to, and who God put in my life. They know I'm very gifted. They know I've written. They have heard my songs before I put it on AI. They've heard me make beats. They heard me make music. They all were here. My family definitely knows ever since I was 20 years old, I was producer, but I've been doing music since I was 3. I've been rapping since I was 16. So all of this really is just like a bunch of hype just to keep people from, I don't know, it's a lot of pride in that to me. You know what I'm saying? And
Like
I'm
that's
moving
that's
aside
something.
that.
Something.
Yeah,
Man, I appreciate you for
exactly.
sharing that. Like I said, I don't have a problem with it. It can be used, for good or evil. Just depends on, like you said, whose mindset is doing all the typing inside of that.
That's it.
We gonna get both sides of the express,
Well, there
especially
you go. Social media,
especially in the
content
world.
creation.
Yeah, you're gonna get what you get from it. And it's to the point where some of
Hmm.
these videos that you can't even tell, like you got to really question these videos that people are producing, because if you don't pay attention, you might think that's a real video
So
from
I'm
the
on that
internet.
next. I'm on that next.
It's like,
I'm making the AI videos next.
we got to pay
Yeah.
attention to that video though, because
Hmm.
they're playing with our imagination. That is a real, because the brain can't tell the difference between a real and imaginary threat. So if you're making videos that look real and you're making plane crashes or you're making all these different things, that's an emotional reaction that you're getting from that video. Even though
Same
you
with
know it's
everything.
not right, even though you know it's not real, but your
Hmm.
brain is gonna digest it as such. What is your
Well,
test for reality? We need a test for reality these days.
people manipulate a lot of things. I mean, people manipulate money. Counterfeit money is out there where it
Exactly.
looks real, but it ain't real. I mean, it's all about the hands of the beholder of where you put the tool in, the tool, the crafting, or who you put it in. If you put it in the wrong hands, obviously, yeah, you're gonna have a lot of things to think about. But that's just pretty much the life of life in general. Life is always going to be full of threats and blessings. You're going to see it. The whole point is you have to discern what is going to be considered God's righteousness in it or not, and that's just discernment. We can't take that away from humanity at all, no matter how much we try. You know what I'm saying? It's just something you're gonna have to live by. You're gonna have to learn to grow up and do. Fortunately and unfortunately for the children and generations beyond us, like our grandkids and beyond, they're going to be dealing with a whole different lifestyle, but of the same type of principles that we stand for in our lifetime. So it doesn't really.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you on that one, and I appreciate you, man, for sharing that. We're gonna play this announcement and get right into the topic.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
Find us on the web at mbradio.us.
All right, so today's topic, we if you watched last episode, we definitely touched on some beatitudes. Rion, we walked away, with some other ideas, and so I'm, like I said, I'm sharing my platform with him. He's got some topics he wanted to bring to the table. So talk about this one today, man. What we gonna?
So this one I call it the duel of the dual nature. And that is considered what we consider we came up with the altered ego. So the duel of the dual nature. Um a lot of people when let's put it this way. When we're born with the beatitudes. That's who we were as children. We talked about this in our last session. That made us be creative. That made us be kids. That made us be silly. That made us be our individual selves. Whether we was mocked or hate or liked, it didn't matter when you was in kindergarten and you was running around, you know, popping your nose back and forth for
Right. Freedom,
doing all the
freedom to
crazy
just
sillies
be.
of the freedom to do whatever what you want to be because nobody really had kids didn't know they were doing their own thing. And the whole point is that That was the purity of the Beatitudes in us because we didn't have any type of thought of being malicious or anything until later.
Right.
Now, when you get into understanding that goes innocent until you get the one that moves like the serpent, that moves like the enemy. And that's the one that hurts your feelings. That's the one that said you're goofy. That's the one who called you names. That's the one that sent you home crying. That was the girl that rejected you in grammar school with the extra chocolate milk. Come on, let's just keep it real. The whole point is that you was in love, you saw attraction for the first time when you was a kid, and you was like, I'm gonna do everything for this girl. I'm gonna do everything.
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten. She had red barrettes in her hair, and that was awesome. You know what I'm saying? So you did everything to show that you was interested. And the minute she went with Junebug over you, because Junebug is just causing the ruckus, he was tougher or whatever, you cried about it. There go your heart broke. So here's where the ego entered your body right then and there. Boom. So the enemy hits you with something to take you way out of you. The way he did it was basically he made you form a persona. Now, the way this persona became more craftier, because we've been doing it ever since grammar school. But when you got into your teen years, your puberty years, as a male, as a man, these things started becoming more serious. I don't know where we did in California, but I know in Chicago, if you came to school with some pro wings on and you was a freshman in high school,
Oh,
you was
buddy.
gonna get jacked up. You about to get
Oh,
beat.
buddy.
You about to get beat. I ain't gonna say
Buddy.
beat up beats. Yeah.
They make you want to take them shoes off and walk home in
Oh,
your socks.
seriously. That's how
With some
bad
pro
it was.
wings. Yes.
Exactly, because now we're in the enemy's territory of understanding what is what out judgment. Now we're starting to get into a point where we started forming ourselves to the world instead of forming ourselves to God. So the Beatitudes were getting overwritten by the ego. That's why we say it's altered because of the fact it altered our system from when we was kids and when we was young. And we didn't have a lot of the parents enforcing or protecting us from that. Back then, it was more like, you can wear those pro rings. Oh, boy, I spent $20 on it, bro. You gonna wear those pro rings? And you like, I don't want to wear them, mama. But they didn't realize mama's sending us to school to get beat up every single time. So these are the things that we have to look at. The alter ego is the dual nature. The dual nature of the persona of who you are. My persona is samurai, warrior. But that's not who I am in the Beatitudes. I'm Arian. I'm Arian down to the schematic of what did God say I was going to be while I was in the womb. That part. And that's the part that's coming together.
So let's go back.
Mhm.
So we talk about childhood, right? We talk about the ego and how at some point in life we're living life free to be laugh, joke, dance in front of the family, do all the crazy stuff, dance on the table, whatever we did to express ourselves as children, not knowing anything about right or wrong, good or bad, as far as an emotional state, as far as looking funny or you're weird or whatever those things, right? But there's something that does happen, right? There's something that happens where that mind of that child lands on there's something wrong with me. Right?
Mm.
I'm on my own. I don't belong. There's an experience that happens. And what you're pointing to for me in the work that I've done on myself was the identity of that ego of that child, right? You're saying that the ego, I'm looking at it from an identity gets created. That I don't just
Mhm.
become good enough, but I'm living from I'm not good enough. And I'm living
Mhm.
from emotional distress of I never want to feel that embarrassment again. I never want to be disappointed. I never want to be embarrassed. I never want to feel shame. And
Mhm.
for me, that's that identity ego that happens so subtle. It's so
Mhm.
subtle, right? That
Yes.
the child lands on that identity, and as you said, if the parents aren't educated and they don't know child development or they don't understand how powerful the brain is and how the enemy attacks us, right, at the very early ages. So you have the spiritual context of that conversation, and you have know, the mental health aspects of the child development. But if
Exactly.
parents don't know that, and when that happens and that fracture happens, and you make up a story that there's something wrong with me, and then you begin to live from there's something wrong with me because I got the experience, I got the memory, I got the body sensation, and
Hmm.
you make a decision on your emotional state. I'm never gonna feel that pain again. That's not
Exactly.
even the child. That's the brain
Shutting off.
operating naturally,
Yeah,
what it does naturally. So I
that's
appreciate you
the.
for saying that because
Mhm.
when you talk about ego, you gotta measure that. You gotta start peeling those layers off of what that actually means, what it looks like from a technical standpoint, biblical standpoint, and then how does it show up in my life
Mhm.
as an ego. So go ahead.
That's what I've noticed is that when it does that, is like with me, when I realized when I was a kid, I was very emotional. I was very much, I was shown a lot of different stuff in life that I shouldn't have been shown as a kid.
Right, right,
And some of that was possibly because I was a little bit nosy, but some of it because no kid, what kid is not a detective at a young age? That's
right.
like
Of course.
impossible. But also a lot of it comes from a lot of people not paying attention, parents not paying attention to what they're doing around their children. And I was raised by children, to be honest with you. My mama was 16 when she had me. She was married at 19 when I was 3 to my dad. My dad was only 21. He was fresh out the gate. So when we look at all of that, matter of fact, I think my dad was 23 when he married my mom. But still, nonetheless, he was still fresh out the gate as an adult.
Yeah.
My mom was right behind
He was
following.
still young. Yeah, he was still young.
Yeah, so it's a lot that I grew up in my first 8 years of my life that were like,
The first eight.
you know, yeah, the first 8 years of my life. We talk about Gaga Google to I got He Man. You know what I'm saying? And it's like I watched this in front of my face. I watched my family come over, or my family had to bunk at my mom's house because they didn't have no place to stay, and they lived underneath my dad. And I watched the weed smoke, the drinking, but also I watched the bodybuilding. I watched them play Uno, and I didn't even
Right,
understand what that was as a kid.
right,
And I watched them, do all sorts of things that were adult and childlike.
right,
And a lot of times they didn't want me playing the child stuff, but I'm like, it's a kid thing. You could have taught me how to play Uno. How hard is that? You know what I'm
right,
saying? But
right.
it's because they were caught up in their thing. I was just the how can I say? I'll use an atom for example. You got protons and neutrons, and you got the electrons that float around. Well, I'm the
Mhm.
electron that floats around. So I can see everything that's going on inside, but I can never be a part.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But as I watch how we grow up, you know what I'm saying? My mom, when she divorced my dad or my dad divorced her, whichever one is the truth, I really could care less now because that chapter's closed for me. I'm complete.
Yeah.
I realized that the journey changes with the child. So not only did it abrupt change to where I'm dealing with something different, I'm dealing with my mom by herself now. Now she's still a kid, she's still young. She was like maybe 20, 21, 22 by the time she divorced my dad. You know what I'm saying? And when I'm looking at that going into watching her by herself, she's wild. You know what I'm saying? But she was young, which means married. You know what I'm saying? She a hopeless romantic out there looking for love. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of guys that came up there charming, and I saw a lot of guys come and go, but they were friends or they weren't friends or they were more than friends. I watched them kiss and then they're not there no more. It's a lot of stuff that I've seen coming up, you know, and that's because I was raised by children. So I didn't have that old elder middle age parent that kind of schooled me, educated me, was more experienced, you know what I'm saying, and was the proper nurturer, the upbringer. I was just riding along like a little brother and didn't understand what I was all about or what was going down. And then, not to mention the other half of it, of being socially confined to the house all the time and not having nothing. So that was a whole nother story in itself, and the
All
abuse
that
that's
plays a part. All that plays a part.
all that plays a part
In
too.
the
But by the
identity.
time I got, but by the time I got to high school, my identity was like dark. There was
Mm.
nothing there. You know what I'm saying? By the time I got to high school, I was already suicidal. You see, by the time I got to high school, I was already like, I don't really care what you do to me.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? And it got to a point where I was pushed over in high school a lot. Valentine's Day, please. Carnations are handed around school by fake girlfriends. dudes writing girls' names because they mad or they got into it, writing girls' names on carnations and then sending them to me and say, "This girl like you, dog."
Mm.
And then here I go out there and find out that was her boyfriend the whole time playing around with me, and she was just mad at him for doing it. You see what I'm saying? That kind of stuff. So I went through a lot in that area, but that area showed me where I started to develop my alter ego. My alter ego was Akuma from Street Fighter. That's my alter ego.
Gotcha.
Every time I get caught up in the sense of when I was younger and I didn't know how to separate, get back to me, because my Ariana is gone now.
Yeah.
I adapted to the warrior that was Akuma. And the story of him was he practiced well in martial arts is Shotokan karate, but nobody can shoot a fireball from their hands. That's unrealistic.
Right.
But the missing part of studying the chi, Ryu and Ken studied the Hado, the light Hado, the regular Hado style of Shotokan karate. But Goki, he was their predecessor. So Goki said, he wanted the power so much. And he started studying the Dark Hado. It was enticing to him. Now we're getting into the next part of this. The enticement of, do I have humanity and use my fist for just being human, or do I want the power to be more than human? And the part of me seeing this as a kid and seeing this as a teenager, I'm being picked on every day, but I got to do what's right. I got to go to school every day and try to focus on the teacher, but I'm getting picked on, so I can't focus on the teacher, but I still got to do what's right.
Exactly.
I got to go to school and get beat up for my lunch money every day, but I got to focus on what's right. Exactly. I don't have the heart to turn around and say, when I catch these bullies, I'm going to string them up one by one in the locker room, and I'm going to take my money back, and I'm going to do it. I don't have that heart. I didn't have that in me. So it's like, I want that, but I don't know how to get to it.
Yeah.
And so over time in high school, when things got worse, and I mean way worse, it's in my book. I'll let y'all read the details on it. And the 4 Journeys of Spiritual Warfare, The Warrior. Like I said, if anybody wants it, you can check it. Definitely email me about it or whatever be the case. As far as the social media, you can check me at Samurai Shogun Akuma. I'll be happy to. If you DM me, I'll be able to show you the book. I want to market it, but right now at the moment, I want to see how many people really want to know who this person is that comes out with this material.
Right.
So I'm doing it under God's terms. And when God tells me it's time to market it, then I'm going to market it. You know what I'm saying? And I'll get a publisher. But it explains all the things I went through all the way up until 17, 18 years old. Yeah. When I looked at that concept, over time in high school, by the time I hit my senior year, I was already talking about taking me and the school out with me. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. I was all off of the kamikaze end. If I'm going, you going. And everybody just looked like, yo, man, I used to go to school with nunchucks in my hand. Truth be told, they can't get me now because I'm already out of the school. Yeah, I used to go to school with nunchucks in my bag. Real ones. I put the fake ones in there to throw somebody off. And somebody did catch me with the fake ones. They thought they saw the real ones, went and snitched. Yeah, but I had a friend that went on ahead and, threw them in their locker somewhere else. Nobody knew about it. Nobody said no names, and I left the fake ones in there. And then the teacher came in with the police officers. You have a concealed weapon.
Goodness.
You have a concealed weapon on campus. You are going to jail. I was like, really? I pulled out the phone and started beating myself over the head with it. Is this really dangerous? Oh my God, I'm feeling myself getting lightheaded here. And then everybody was like, oh, Mr. Rogers, please do not scare us like that. Oh my God. And then I went on ahead and switched them back out again. Like, I did carry them because, look, I'm not about to be running up in school for 15 dudes to keep beating me up every day. That's not happening. And then I started wearing black. I'm listening.
It's not wild, but it's wild, right? How you can look back at your age now and play those stories back, right? Mm-hmm. And in my other show, on Tuesdays, we talk about what it is to be a male man, right? And other than being a provider and protector, but more of the ingredients of what it is to be a male man, right? We talk about the Beatitudes, we talk about the fruit of the Spirit, we talk about the virtues, we talked about the kingdom principles, the anger, the frustration, like all of that is our ingredients, right? All mixed in together. And to go back and look at that, it's like, but we're born in this sin nature though. Right, we're born in rebellion. We're born with that iniquity already in our hearts, right?
The claws of Adam.
That's part of that fall, right? So
The claws of Adam.
how do and now we're spending time, putting together mentorship programs, and we're putting together all this education to go back and help these children discover the stuff so that they can heal from the stuff that we experienced in our childhood, right? This is a path that I'm on, going back now in time with these children, teaching them these knowledge, this education, discovering that for themselves. When that is not biblically, that is a part of our nature as what it is to be a human being.
Well, the thing about it is, this is what I was going to get to, and this is the reason why I'm getting to this.
Yeah.
A lion is on. God created lions, right? And tigers, right? He created cougars, cheetahs, leopards. I got a question. Are you going to walk up and try to pet a lion? I don't think any human being is going to.
Not in nature.
Not in nature, right? Right. You see a lion. Now, David was a rare breed and only a one of a kind. He went and killed a lion, but barehanded, mind you.
Not in nature.
Right. So the concept is the same thing with every human being. Martial arts, combat skills, the things that we have to do to defend ourselves is like having a lion with a claws and teeth. Why do you think the male ones are the most dangerous ones? Because they protect what they have with that. A lot of people say, oh, you believe in martial arts? Oh, that's demonism. No, wait, hold on, stop. So why don't we just go on back to the biblical times when Jonathan and David exchanged war combat skills to be able to fight for King Saul? Okay, so let's go back to that. David had war skills on him, was trained, but you say it's demonism for him to know battle tactics, to know how to use a sword and a shield. What's the difference between a sword and a shield and using your bare hands as a way of being able to take out your enemy?
It's the heart behind why you're using the sword and the shield.
Exactly. And any martial arts discipline, they teach you. Yeah, the thoughts, but then any martial arts discipline, go to any one of them. The first thing they hit you with is with the mindset. The first thing they hit you with the mindset and understanding why you're using it. Respect the weapon. Right. Your hands are weapons. You have to respect the weapon, which means you got to respect your temple. You have to respect your body. That's the main thing that is preached in the word about anything. Before we have to understand any of this, the word is understanding how to train and tame your temple before you go on ahead and try to exit to show yourself approved. Yep. And that's the concept that I look at, where a lot of this whole religious jargon about, oh, well, that's not of Jesus. Jesus says to turn the other cheek against your enemy and just pray for him. Well, that's true. But how that works is, if my enemy didn't do nothing, let's just put it this way. I got enemies teasing me. I'm going to go pray for them because that's something that's not immediate threat. But if I got an enemy in my face ready to take my life, I'm going to do everything in my power to fold that enemy. We're victorious over this time. Period. I'm not going to sit here like, pow, we turn your cheek, pow. No, I'm going to do something to protect myself.
But see, but even in that context of how you share that, there's still space before you get put in that position of the hand-to-hand combat. And I believe that that's the part of the heart of us that the word is talking about. Why would you even put yourself in position to even have to get to the point of the hand-to-hand combat if you know that this dude got a problem with me and I know this and he's expressed this? Why would I let that even get to the point where he's gonna put his hands on me?
It's not like
it's the heart of us.
It is the heart of us, but every single person has a point where you're walking down the street, you're minding your own business, wickedness comes up on you and tries to take you out. You couldn't control it. You didn't know that person had that problem, but they ran up on you. And you got to defend yourself because God said live first. You choose life. You see what I'm saying? It's not like it was premeditated. Yeah, it's not like premeditated, like, oh, I know the enemy is out here. Oh, it's him right there. Let me pray for him before I even put myself in that situation. It's like you're not a fortune teller. You can't see what's coming up against you. That's the time of self-defense is used.
But
But other than
here's
that,
the thing. Here's the thing with the law, right? And I had this conversation
mhm,
with my buddy a couple days ago. Even though you approach me on the street, right?
right?
And you come to
Hmm.
me and hey, bro, I'm gonna knock you out. Well, blah blah blah, right?
Hmm.
Still in the law, I
Hmm.
can't put my hands on you officially. Just because you said I'm gonna knock you out
Right.
doesn't mean that I have to defend myself and I'm gonna knock you out first since you threatened me, right? So
Okay.
even when it comes to the power of the tongue and the power of our conversation and how we talk at people or talk to people,
Hmm.
I can, regardless of how you're talking to me, is gonna be that outcome is gonna be based on how I respond to you. If I
The
respond to
seconds.
you with
Hmm.
kindness and hey, like bro, like what's like,
Hmm.
that could de-escalate the situation, right?
Exactly.
It
Which we
could be
all go to first.
right. But for
Hmm.
some people, they're reacting to the threat and taking that first punch because I feel like if you say you're gonna knock me out, well, I'm gonna knock you out first. But what does the law say? The law says whoever throws that first punch is the one
It's the
going
one
to
that's
jail.
going to get in jail. Well,
So
also it does say too that even though the law also has this clause in it too, even if you're
the
attacked,
aggressor,
even if you are attacked and you're the defender, if you do not immediately return fire while being attacked, it's retaliation. So if somebody hit me, bop.
there's a space. There's a space
There's
right
a
there.
space in between that, and that's where like martial arts comes into action because you learn how to Wing Chun. They teach you how to block and strike at the same time.
Right,
So
right,
the
right,
whole point. That's why I like that one because that one allows me to defend myself and strike at the same time.
right, right,
People
right.
using Wing Chun, that's really self defense. The reason why is because as I'm defending myself, I'm returning fire, but I'm only returning fire to evade further
Right.
attack.
Evade further
So
attack.
that
Right.
exactly. So I'm wounding the person just to get out the way.
Right.
Now, if
Right.
I'm going ahead and wound the person, then I'll go ahead and hit him again and hit him again and hit him.
Right.
Now I'm in the
Right.
wrong.
Now
I'm all
that's
over it. Now I'm in trouble. You see what I'm
right.
saying?
Right.
But the concept of what I was saying with that, that's that dual nature. We have claws, we have teeth, we are lions. And if you approach us in nature, yes, we have a right to put. If we feel threatened, we are going to use what
If
we
you in
use.
survival, what I'm saying. So if you're living in your ego survival mode phase of life, that's how you're gonna react to life. So
Facts. Now,
the heart of us is turning the other cheek is not your natural. It's not saying to turn the cheek. It's your heart
that's my
posture
whole
that
point.
you're
Yes,
turning, right? But
that's my whole point.
most people don't. They think it's for physical, right?
Right,
When the word is
right.
about the heart of us, and so cats don't realize that it's that the word is about the heart posture of us,
And
and
that's where we have to break the altered ego.
right,
The pride in us says, I'm not going to let nobody beat me down. I'm
right,
not going to let nobody break me up. I'm not going to let nobody kill me. That's
right.
the pride. But the concept is you don't have to tell yourself that in order to walk it. You can just simply be a part of understanding who God is in your life.
Right.
I know that I watch myself now. Now that I learned how to use these knuckles and I learned how to use them, and I got broken knuckles to prove it. So you can see I got bent one here. I got scars all on them. I got stuff that happened to me.
Right.
But now it's like I don't have to use it anymore.
Yeah.
You know why? I'm surrounded by so many people that are just friends. Most of the
But how
conflicts
did you
that
get to the point? How did you get to the point? Because again, the ego is not for me. The ego is not right or wrong, good or bad. Right? We
Mhm.
we, we label it as such. Ego is the label, but my ego and your ego probably two different conversations. Right?
with
But
ourselves, yes,
the end result is probably going to be the same. In survival mode, the end result is kill or be
it's gonna be
killed.
the same.
It's going to be the
Exactly.
same as
That's
the end result.
exactly the thing
So it
is
doesn't make it right or it doesn't make. I guess
mhm.
what I get not that I guess, but what I'm saying is for each individual person, you have to then take that term ego, look at the definition, and look at how you line up with that ego conversation. to figure out what is it that's driving you to have that level of, as they say, what has you easing God out? Ego, ease God out. What is having you ease God out? Your attitude, your behavior, your frustrations, your past experiences, your fear of dying too soon, your fear of whatever, childhood.
Right, I got that one. That's really tricked out because I got a testimony about that last Sunday actually.
Mm,
Last Sunday I was pretty much the Sunday before that I was kind of disappointed because I wasn't really, how can I say, I was still a, I don't like to, I guess the word emasculation is like extreme to what happened, but I could still feel the intimidation off of what happened.
right,
And I
right.
still felt like it wasn't still seen or crossed over. So what happened was I didn't trip on it. I accepted, and I gave it to God. And throughout the whole week, I was a little upset in the beginning, and then I was able to talk about it. I was able to bring it out, and I was able to get advice, wise counsel on how to settle it. So by the time last Sunday came around, I was at peace.
Mhm.
So I realized that was a choice of a spirit of operation in my heart posture.
Mm.
What is this for? What is this about? And then I asked myself the one of the most important question: what does this have to do with me and God? And I said it don't. It's got something to do with mesh that has something to do with assumptions of me that basically I keep defending for no reason. Because to tell you the truth, there is no reason for me to hold this on and keep trying to defend myself to people who just don't see me. Why do
Right.
I have to care? And I said to myself, well, if that's the case, I have to appreciate the people that do see me. Here's where my pride says I want everybody to see me. Excuse me.
Exactly.
Let me not want everybody to see me now. So I'm put in a position where everybody can't see me, and I don't want them to see me.
Mm.
So when I saw that, I said, you know what, God, I guess that's why you got me at the door every single time I come to church. I guess that's why you got me quiet majority of the time now I come to church, when in the past I wasn't so quiet.
Mm.
I guess now is the time where I don't have to openly express my anger to anyone because it's really not even a purpose to even express it. So it says in James, wrath of a man produces nothing.
Mm.
So when I thought about all of that, I said to myself, now what am I really angry at? What I'm really mad about? Do you know I was able to hug my ex in church yesterday when I really had a problem with her all the way around for the past year?
Wow. Wow.
It hurt because I know what happened. Like I'm not an idiot.
Wow.
You know, words travel and they get back to me. But I was able to hug her with the understanding that she's my sister in Christ still, because me and her still turns the same church.
Wow.
So I was able to show that love, the unconditional love of being a brother. That's it. And then I said to myself, that's not so bad. You know why? Because now I got peace within myself beyond anybody else's understanding. So now I can smile a little bit more when I go to church.
Right.
Now I can smile a little bit more when I'm serving. Because now all the stuff that people were saying or thinking, the snickerdoodles,
Right.
I
Right.
call them snickerdoodles.
Right. Right.
You know, they're snickling and doodling, but they ain't paying attention.
Right.
I don't have to think about it no more. I don't have to think about it no more because why? I already feel myself already understanding what God is using me for.
So
So
it's wild that you have this this is your experience, right? Because that was one of my childhood fractures, was that breakup in junior high school, right? I never wanted to bring a girl around my family because I didn't want to have to explain what happened when she's gone. Because in my mind, she was going to leave me anyway because I have abandonment issues. So I would never bring her around, or a girl around my family, to meet my family, because I didn't want to have to explain, oh, where's so and so at? And then now I'm embarrassed. I got shame, I got disappointment, and then I got to explain to you why she ain't around no more, bro. That was devastating. So I can only imagine for you to be in the same church and break up, right, and still attend that same church, and then you have to be in all of that snickering, doodling, that right. That's the part that I was like, I'm not gonna. I don't want to even feel that, but I know what it felt like because in junior high school, when she dated my buddy's friend, I felt that. And now everybody's looking at me. I thought that was your girl. Oh, I thought, and then grad night, and we're on the bus together, grad night, and they're back there hugged up, and I'm like embarrassed, and it's like, and then at 14 though, bro, like 14, like a child,
That's what my friend of mine told me the
14.
best thing. She said at 43, if you still throwing temper tantrums over negative things, which I give kudos to her for this because she made me wake up completely. I mean, completely. Shouts out to her, most def. You know what I'm saying? If you still 40 something years old and you still having temper tantrums like you're in high school, we have problems, people. We have Houston, we have a problem. As a matter of fact, call all cities in the United States. We have an emergency state event right now. This is a problem. At 46, you should not be mad and sad and lip poked out over childish behavior. And that's when it kind of dawned on me. I've been walking around like that for the longest, pent up, ready to go to war at all times because nobody wants to, it gets bad because it's like it's the male and female dynamic now because, girl heartbroken, we ain't together.
Yeah, they pit us against each other.
Right. They pit us against each other. So now it's like you got all of this going on where I am the target because I'm a man now. Not because I broke up with her and, I might want to talk to somebody else or I might not even want to talk to nobody else. I might just want to get to know people. And it's a problem because now I'm a target. Yeah. But all of that was carrying on me with all this anger saying, you know what? F everybody then. Since everybody want to be that way, well, now I'm about to lock myself back into the tomb. Now you catch nothing but Now that's that alter ego that I had as a child. Once again, we ain't talking about 40-something years old still carrying on childhood ways. Yes. So that Akuma came into me.
Wow.
The dark, that power saying, I'm warrior.
Right.
I don't care what you think no more. I'm not going to smile at you no more. Why should I? All you're going to do is snickerdoodle that I smiled at you and you're going to say something else about me. So now I'm locked in. Now I'm in war mode. And think about that altered ego being in that war mode. It didn't help the situation even more. Even if I just stood there in the war mode, I didn't have to say anything. I could have just stayed locked up.
Right.
It still don't help because your body language is 90% of your speech.
Exact body language.
So, and your body language is something that you can't help. Guess why? Because your heart posture, your heart is in your body. And it constantly beats. Somebody can tell. Why you think they have what they call a nanograph or what they call a polygraph or whatever? And people are like, oh, you're lying. Because you have a heart. Your body's going to react regardless. There's nothing you can do about it. So the whole point is your heart posture you cannot lie about. As much as you can try to say, oh, I love you, brother, but if I see that your heart posture is not true, you just totally pissed me clean off in my aspect because where I come from, my response is anger. It's not to say, oh, I'm sad because they're lying to me. No, mine is I want to tear you apart because you're lying to me. You see what I'm saying? But that's that Akuma.
So that's why. Is that why people say action speaks louder than words? What are these
actions speak louder than words because it's true.
These things. I don't agree with that phase. I don't agree with that anymore. No. I don't agree with that.
It's a balance of the two. It's a balance of that. Here's the thing about that. Actions don't really speak louder than words unless you are the person that really is going to put it into that direction. You make the choice. Are you going to run your mouth and not do no action? In other words, it makes you a hypocrite, contradictory. Or are you going to back it up with your actions and make sure that they line up with your words? So if they're out of whack or out of sync, they don't work.
But just because my action speaks louder than my words, and you call me a hypocrite, out of all the definitions in the dictionary that you want to label me, you want to label me as a hypocrite when you have no idea what's going on in my thought process, right?
Now that's when we talk about intention.
So you looking at me on the outer level of your actions don't align with your words, but then you have no idea of what I'm dealing with that's causing me to pretend like I'm cool and I'm not cool because there's something going on over here with me and my emotions. But no one cares to ask, "Are you okay? Like, why you act like this, but you say this?" But no, you don't. You're not interested in that. You just want to just call me a hypocrite or whatever, and then I'm labeled as a hypocrite because my actions. But no one's asking the child, "What are you dealing with, my guy? Are you dealing with something?"
Ah, I got you. Your mic is buzzing, by the
Oh,
way.
it's a
Just
buzzing.
letting
Oh,
you
it's
know.
buzzing.
Yeah, it's buzzing. Because when you yanked it 40, I can hear the static in it.
Okay,
But I
is it
hear it
still
in the way
buzzing?
you're saying.
Is
No,
it
you're
still
perfect. You're
buzzing?
back to normal.
Okay, yeah.
You're good, good.
But
So that
that's the level of the heart posture. Again, we see
mhm.
the actions in the body in the conversation, but what's driving the heart posture to make me want to
Mm.
be that kind of too? Because I can't express myself because I can't say whatever that fracture is. Right, that ego
Well,
is not allowing me to be free.
exactly. That's the part I had to realize when I got the when I speak about arrest the ego,
Mm-hmm.
you got to go back to the Beatitudes.
Yeah.
You have to go back to them. So if I know I'm being challenged in a certain area, I find out what Beatitude I'm being challenged in.
Mm.
And then that lets me know. I did it with my friend on one time on my friend Chris from my old ministry. We sat
Mm.
here and talked about it. He was like, "Okay, well, let's find that out." He called me one time because I was going through it, and I had a little ego or attitude on my shoulders. And he was like, "Yo, brother, I realize where you're coming from, and I love you, brother, because you are always cool, and maybe we could probably work that out." I said, "You know what? I do want to work that out because I want to find out what it is. So what am I putting off
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not part of the Beatitudes?" And we went through it. And he said,
Wow.
"One." And then we came out to where I struggle at. I struggle at being merciful. I
Mm.
struggle in meekness. I struggle for being those are actually the two. And
Wow.
poor in spirit.
More
Because
spirit.
poor in
Wow.
spirit makes the other two challenging. So if
Wow.
I'm too puffed up, like how dare you talk down to me, or how
Right,
dare you
right,
do this to me? Well, I'm
right.
not being merciful.
Oh my
And that
gosh.
leads to me like, I wish you would. Now you know what? I'm coming after you because you talking down to me. Now I'm not being meek. You see what I'm
Oh,
saying? Because the pure in spirit I wasn't poor in spirit. I was prideful.
I like that.
See what I'm saying?
I like
It
that.
all links in. So I had to tap back into my beatitude. I had to go back to the boy in me to feed it more and to understanding it's time to mature. Because see, the boy created the ego. I
Yeah,
created a
exactly.
kuma. You see what I'm saying? My rage, my whole I don't give a crap nature came from the idea of Akuma. Because Akuma cared less about no one. As a matter of fact, there's a video, I'll share my Facebook with you. You can see it on my Facebook. But my birthday video explained it how I went through the struggles of battling Ryu versus Akuma and Street
Mm.
Fighter 6. And it showed how it was a fight. It was like a real fight. And Akuma was like beast. Like he brought demons down and was beating the crap out of Ryu with shadows. And Ryu is getting beat up because Ryu is the boy in me, and that's the ego that's controlling me now. I'm not controlling the ego no more because I let the
Right,
beast get too far out of control.
right, 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 right.
And that's why we got to focus on the word to understand what men need to understand. And this is what ladies to men need to catch in a sense of. We
Mm.
have a dual nature. Instead of dueling with the dual nature of yourself, learn how to see the parts of when it's time to pull the dual nature out. In other words, meaning I got to protect my family, so I'm going to war. You know what I'm saying? Because let's just say it's a state of emergency event here in America. We're being invaded.
Right.
Okay, you're Army. I know Marine stuff from being raised up around Marines and military and police. And well, I am not going to sit here and say a terrorist with a gun is threatening my family. Hey, please come in and have some teas and crumpets. No, it's not happening. We're not doing that right now. You see what I'm saying? I'm in war mode. So in war mode is the time that comes out to say, I don't care. My life is not about to be wasted for me not defending my family.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to do what I got to do. And when men get into that dual nature, it doesn't have to be a style to it like Akuma or any persona. It just
Right.
got to be done. And normally when that happens, a man ain't smiling.
But most of us got an alter ego, though. If we tell the truth, most of us got an alter ego.
Facts, of course. I mean, some of us don't want to let the kid go. Yeah. But that's what I say is, and that alter ego comes in a lot of cases, but that's because that comes with spiritual maturity, learning how to let all of that go. Yeah. And guess what? Can't nobody tell you you're spiritually mature or not, or spiritually immature, unless they're a little further along. And can't nobody tell you when it's like you'll be forever immature or you'll be forever mature. And guess what? No one has arrived because we're still sitting on this fleshly body, still sitting in our human bodies, still sitting here on earth. So for a brother or a Christian, I'm listening.
I said to the day we check out.
To the day we check out, exactly. To the day that we see God in the veil, he's the only one that can tell you, job well done or depart from me. Those are the only things that you can get judged by. While you're here on this planet, the one thing you can do, according to it says in the scripture, according to fellow believers, they can pass, judge, or discern for correction to another brother if they're behaving not in the way of the faith. But the thing about it is, out of all of that, people take that out of context because they don't understand how to judge it to the word of God versus to judge it to their own self-righteousness for God.
Self-righteousness, exactly. That part, which is still ego.
It's still ego, exactly. So in other words, meaning when it comes to God's righteousness and our righteousness, they're two different levels. Our righteousness is based on you shouldn't be doing that if you're a Christian. Well, line it up with the word. And if I committed murder, then you're right. If I totally fornicated and you saw me doing it, you're right. If I totally spat in your face and disrespected you for no apparent reason, you're dead on. Okay, in the word, I'm out of order. You see what I'm saying? But for somebody to try to twist or over spiritualize things in the way of understanding that everybody in church, everybody who's a part of the body of Christ is somewhat growing one way or another. So you can't sit here and constantly try to attack the growing parts. Doesn't it say cover the members that are weak or vital or fragile? We cover those areas.
But you know what I saw, and I have wrote some notes down thinking about this episode. Our forgiveness and God's forgiveness is not the same forgiveness either.
No, it's not.
Right? And that's
something we asked for.
Right. But I found myself thinking that was the same forgiveness that we're supposed to be forgiving each other with, but it's not the same forgiveness. Right? We can offer mercy and grace to one another, but when I saw that and how when Christ was like he was being forgiveness, they got mad at him for saying that. Like only God can forgive. Like who are you to this forgiveness stuff? And so I was looking at like, well, I go to the ministry of reconciliation, which is based off of reconciliation and forgiveness.
Right.
But that forgiveness is a different type of forgiveness between you and I, and then what God forgiveness is. It's two different forgiveness. So I'm studying that. I'm gonna get some clarity in that. But I did realize that there's two different forgivenesses going on in that situation.
I'm looking at it as the reason why I'm saying that is probably because of the fact that God's forgiveness, God is outside of time. God created us all, and God knows all. So nothing humanly possible amazes God or testifies God to the point of your unforgiven. No, whenever he feels like whenever you get the condemnation or whatever be the case, it's not to those of Jesus Christ, because Jesus is always the pinnacle talking to God about everything that we're doing. Right. So he's saying, I know my son's heart. I know my brother's heart. I know what's going on. Right. Lord, please show him.
So my forgiveness is recognizing my stuff against you, not you to me. It's me and my heart posture to you. So it's back to self-forgiveness. Not me expecting you to give me your forgiveness because of whatever you did to me. No, that's not the same forgiveness.
Sometimes people, the forgiveness part is actually asking for forgiveness. It's actually for them to bring them at peace when you have trespassed.
Right.
Now the whole point is that the whole concept of trespassing, we have to set two things: responsibility and accountability.
Accountability, exactly.
People like to say, I'm sorry, I apologize to accept the responsibility. Yeah. But now the accountability is, are you going to do it again?
That's the difference.
So I can hold you responsible. Good. You accept the responsibility, but now can I hold you accountable to not do it again?
And if you do it again, I get to point that out. Hey, you're doing that behavior. You're doing that behavior.
You do it again, and that's where it comes into correction.
That's where it comes into correction. Exactly.
But also, what people take out of it is the one biggest thing of all: love.
That part.
Everything must be done in love.
Well, the
Love
ego. There's
meaning-
no love in the ego. The ego can't give you love, though.
And here's the thing: the ego is nothing but a spirit of operation you put on yourself and came into agreement with when you was doing the things you was doing.
Protection, and it's protection.
So
Emotional protection.
So in other words, with somebody, this is how you gotta have the God. You gotta see God's eyes too. You gotta see things through God's eyes. People are not people that are born. And put it this way: gangbanger, prime example.
Right.
Gangbanger come out, quit blood walking, whatever he doing, right? All right, he didn't come out the womb with a 40 in his hand. Talk about saying, "What's up, G?" Going ahead and cut the umbilical cord. No, he did not do that. It's impossible for him to do that. You know, see, he's a baby saying "Gaga Google," don't know much, crying because it's cold, or he was needed his mom. These things, everybody came from that, regardless. I still remember what Similac tastes like because my mama used to feed it to me. So I get my memory to go back to the understanding, like, wow, I was really, as a kid, as a baby, I can remember a lot of these experiences and say that, you know what, that's innocent. I wasn't in my head trying to, flex. So the whole point is the spirit of operations we put on us coming up, the personas we put on us coming up. Now we got to get deliverance to get that stuff taken off of us so we can get back to the roots of who God called us to be. Like I said, let's go back to kindergarten. Exactly. Go back to kindergarten.
Hey, I went back to 2 years old, and the identity that I landed on as a 2-year-old, my guy. I'm unsafe. I'm unsafe, and I'm lost in relationship between my mom and my grandmother, and I never, ever, ever want to feel that pain of disappointment again between those two.
I could tell
that was
you,
an identity.
The thing about mine was a little bit more vicious at 3.
3?
I left the book in your chat. You just need to read the book and find out what happened to me because I'm not saying that on this camera. But all I'm going to tell you is my identity 3 was shocked and shut down in the most horrifying way possible. And that brought me up to agree with a spirit that has been agreeing with me for so long, due to, still to this day. Up to this day, I just now understand what it is to have peace in that area. Because I took this demon on and I agreed with him. And if you watch any horror movie, right? I watch horror movies. That don't bother me none. I ain't scared of it. I know who my savior is, and I just watch them to know that if that comes in my house, I don't want it there. And if you're doing that in front of me, I don't want no part of it. So I can keep an eyesight of where I'm at. And if I see a house that looks not right, I'm not going in it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I watch horror movies. I educate. I don't run from it. I go into it, but like, oh, so that's why. Oh, well, you did that yourself. You said those words. That's why that thing is coming after you. That's your fault. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I think about it. And the only thing about it doesn't phase who I am. I still got a good heart. I still believe in Jesus Christ as my savior. I still show love. I would help anybody. I give the shirt off my back if I can. You know what I'm saying? And that's just the way I am. That's the way he made me to be. That's part of my attitudes and makeup. But going back to seeing the spirits that we come into agreement with, that makes you look at the people a whole lot different.
Right.
So my ex wasn't being treacherous because she was smearing my name all across the church. That ain't it. It was actually the spirit of agreement because she was dealing with brokenheartedness and she came into agreement with it. And any horror movie, the first thing it does, it introduces an entity or a spirit, a familiar spirit, that's normally the form. It introduces itself to you. And it always comes at your time of the most vulnerability, whether you are super angry, whether you're super sad, whether you are grieved, whether you want revenge, those things, that's where the enemy sends his minion out.
Yeah. That
person's in grievance. Make them go on ahead and go, make them see me instead of God, because they're going to go to God. Go right there. Yeah. And then what happens is, it starts with an introduction of why this happened, what's going on. And then it feels like it's a comforting experience to have that familiar spirit a part of you. Then you start going back into your old habits, your bad habits when these things happen. Then they start filtering in. Now the demons got like a little bit of an agreement. Now you come in totally agreement when you started building those bad habits, and now you're there. Now it's not necessarily demonic possession, but you just opened up a portal for it to hide behind your emotions. You just it just attached itself to you.
Yeah,
You don't see it,
itself to it. Yeah, it attaches
but
itself
your
to it.
exactly. So your countenance is going to change. Your heart
Mm,
posture is going to change. And guess what? It's going to be hard for you to change it back. So it says that a brother in a fence is harder to win back than that of a stronghold.
right.
Because
And
once
we see that in our children when Farron was lively as a child and all of a sudden he's quiet. Well, what happened? Oh, he's shy. Shy? What? If you see you've seen the change. All of a sudden, Farron is shy. What had Farron become shy?
that's the point. Most people don't understand that a lot of times when we shift, it's because of something that they weren't paying attention to that was happening.
Yeah.
And the challenges in this though, as we like to jump into the altered ego, we need to go on ahead and take away the ego. Strip yourself and become vulnerable again before God. It's hard to become vulnerable before God. Like God don't know. God wants you to just say that He knows. He knows you already. He already knows what you went through. He already knows what you're going through. He already knows what you did.
Right.
But
It's part
until
of
you
it's part
admit,
of your journey. Yeah.
exactly, until you admit to Him, He's going to sit there and wait for you to do it. And the more you keep hurting yourself
Yeah.
because you have not stripped yourself down and said, Lord, I did that.
Yeah.
That was me. Lord, help me for creating this entity that I should have never created in the first place.
Yeah.
Lord, forgive me for the way I was. A lot of people, when they say they saved, they're not really truly saved because here's what they're doing. They say they forgive. You're asking for God's forgiveness and you're saying that I repent for all my old sins, but then you put the stuff right back on you. So I got a question. You know what I'm saying? Even though it's declared, yeah, you can declare your faith. That'll never change because once it is, it is. But your walk going to be a lot harder if you ain't real with it.
That's and so what the fruit that you produce is going to be is what you're going to it's going to show itself.
That's the reason why it takes very much a lot of training in the word to understand who God is in your life.
Yeah.
Your prayer life got to be strong. My prayer life is just not getting there. It's intermediate. You know what I'm saying? I say it's intermediate because I know how to say, God, I need something when I talk to Him personally, but I don't know how to intercess. I don't know how to say in the name of Jesus. And I don't really know how to. I just know how to pray. And it was it's simple. God, I'm talking to you right now. I'm asking you for this, that, and the other. Lord, could you please help me? Lord, because I know you can do it because you are the Almighty. That's it. Of course, it doesn't sound all super religious like most people do, start speaking in tongue and all of that. But at the same time, every time I have declared something to God or I've asked for prayer for something to God, God has answered.
Yeah.
And when He's done, that's how I know He can hear me.
Yeah.
So overall, the whole point of the duel, stop dueling. Embrace. Because what you're dueling is you're dueling the entity that you created that's actually protecting the weaknesses of you. You're not embracing your weaknesses and your pain.
So you're saying embrace the ego.
Yeah. And eradicate the ego by embracing the other half of yourself.
I feel that's what
that's
what
hurt.
I'm saying. Exactly. That's that other. That's embracing
The
that
other
pain.
self.
That's embracing that hurt. Embracing those childhood fractures. When I embrace those different wounds, and I owned them, and then I did the work around. It was like, man. Then I realized they wasn't even real. They wasn't even. I was never abandoned. I was never.
I look back at all of that. All the stuff that happened to me actually happened. But the one thing about me was how I felt about it.
Right.
I went back to saying I don't have to feel that way no more because all of it has been reconciled.
Right.
Now I would say 90% of it is reconciled. The homies that used to beat me up in the hood, they give me respect. They say, "What's up?" You know what I'm saying? We 40-something years old. I crack a beer with them and talk to them. You know what I'm saying? I'm more about God and they had one.
That's that period.
Yeah, exactly. I talk to them and a lot of them don't really remember all the stuff they was doing.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
That was the key though. When I went to go back at 40 to heal my past, I
Mm-hmm.
called friends and asked them to forgive me for my behavior and some of the stories that I remember, and they would be like, "What are you talking about, bro? Like that I don't remember that. I remember this." And I was like, "Oh shoot." That's when I started to understand that a lot of the stuff that I made up it lived over here. It didn't even live out there. It still lived over
Yep.
here in my mind.
Exactly. And a lot of things that I saw too that I thought were good back in the day, technically I was in the middle of something I wasn't supposed to be in the middle of. And then I came to realization with that too. See, when you start coming to realization with yourself and you start realizing where your weaknesses and your strengths are, some of them are misplaced based on what happened to you. But once you take away the trauma and sort through the damage, you start putting yourself back together, you start rewiring yourself. You know, my friend was talking to me about a lot about that, and my friend was like, she really is like really cool. Like, yo, I'm crushing right now because she helped me put myself together. Like in a matter of a few days, she helped me put myself together. And it's amazing because it's just like, yo, so I don't have to, am I supposed to, and really?
Yeah.
Now I get it. Oh my God. I feel like an idiot there. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Like I feel
You're like, that was it. That was it. That was it.
She was like, ding, ding, ding. Did you not see that? I'm like, no, I did it. Oh my goodness.
Bro, in my personal development classes, bro, when I discover those things, all I could do is laugh. Like, you got to be kidding me. Like that's what that was. One little fractured emotional piece of the story that was out of context or out of line, or I said that's not what happened. What happened was this. What I made it mean was this. Those are two separate things of what happened, what I made it mean. Two separate things.
Yes. And like it's tricked out when you really go back to yourself and you start putting yourself back together. You start seeing where your mistakes are, and then you got somebody who can see who you are. That's another thing. Somebody who really can see who you are and not be on the bias, on the trend, or the outside, or the image. They can see who you are. It points out easier for the outside looking in. So it's like a mirror on steroids.
Yeah.
So you can actually see a lot about yourself and put yourself back together. It's like, yo, I totally slipped on that part. Oh man, you know what? I still think this person to this day because of the fact she was awesome in every category. Awesome. And the one thing about it was I look at that and I just say, I'm a little bit more put together, more confident.
Okay, yeah,
Because
that's the result. That's the result that happens. Confidence gets restored.
exactly. So when your confidence gets restored, now you start walking in who you are.
Yeah.
Back to the
Today.
Beatitudes. Yeah, today. Back to the Beatitudes. Back to now it's the older version of who you were in kindergarten. Now you're the grown man of it. Now you ain't gonna be crying over no the girl rejecting your chocolate milk, but you still walking with that piece. Like, man, I remember when you was a kid. You're the still same dude today, man. You so cool. And then you can say, you know what? Yeah, man, I kind of grew up though, you know. And that's where it comes down to lining off. You're peeling away the ego, and now you're putting your spirit man in place. So now when you put your spirit man in place, there go you becoming whole, not just healed, whole.
Yeah.
Under God.
That's a different. I'm looking. I'm over here looking because I want to. We're about to get out of here. So I want. Do you want to touch on the different scriptures that you put together for this episode? So
I was trying to get into the enticement part, that part too, because the ego entices where the spirit man doesn't have to entice. It's just himself. So I want to be able to grab this off real quick before we get out of here. This is the final part.
Go ahead.
All right. So in Proverbs, I was reading 9:18, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I understood all in Jeremiah about the Jezebel spirit. So I read that like totally 40 going north. You know, so I understood Jezebel, I understood Elijah. I understood why Elijah ran to the caves, but I understood where Elijah had to get his confidence back to face Jezebel. Right?
Okay.
Well, the story goes right here in 13 through 18. Now, this is talking about the woman, but nobody ever thinks about the man doing these same things. Whoops.
Yep.
A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knows nothing. For if she sits at the door of her house on a seat by the highest places of the city, to
Mm-hmm.
call to those who pass by, who go straight on their way. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. And as for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he
Mm.
does not know that the dead are there, that her guests are in the depths of hell.
Mm.
Hmm. Sounds like a harlot to me. We all know what that is. The ratchet girls are running around, the forever loner dons that move around, the yappadons that be talking around, the baddies that have everything showing out. We already
But
know what that.
everybody's hurt though. Everybody's flawed. They became why did they become a baddie though?
Yeah, and let's flip it
Because
around.
of
Why did the boy become a thug? Why did the boy
exactly.
become the one that sat the pants off his butt?
Exactly.
All the trauma, these things is that, and when you look at that, the enticement, this is the difference. When you are in your beatitudes, you're in yourself. That's the best way to attract any woman.
Mm.
When you just be in yourself. You're being a gentleman, but you're not thinking of anything in return. You're just being a gentleman. You give her a compliment, but it's off of genuine beauty because you see she's an attractive woman, and that's about it. You keep it moving. Those are the beatitudes. You're low in spirit because you're not really looking for anything in return. You're not trying to be seen. You're just seen.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're responding to whatever is around you. That's about it. The concept of a man is that when a man has to turn into a Jezebel because he wants to get out there and be seen, now you're holding the door open and you're being a gentleman because you know you're attracted to her. You know you attracted her for one reason.
Right.
She
Right.
sees the heaviness in that. And then there are the simple women that fall for it. Same vice versa. That
Mm-hmm.
scripture is not just for the lady, it's also for the men too. Running your game, spitting your riz, all of that is enticement. Where is that coming from? That's not coming from your spirit, bro. That's not
Mm-hmm.
coming from God. That's coming from your ego. You know what I'm saying? So you said how what mulatto say, I got that big energy.
Yeah.
And then it's the other one that he says, Beyonce's best. Oh, he's got an ego. Why do you think she was singing that in? She was singing it in because it was witchcraft to get boys to think that that's how they're supposed to bring up to a woman. That ain't got nothing to do with it. Your brawn speaks for itself. Your security, your safety, your mask speaks for itself. Just walk in who you are. Just let it go.
It's difficult to walk in who you are when you're living avoiding shame, embarrassment, disappointment. When you're living avoiding those emotional fractures, that's
Well,
if it was that easy, we would have been healed long time ago, and the word would be a different type of word.
Well, Earth was created from the inside out. If ain't nobody paid attention, the core is hardened over, but the core is the life of the Earth, is it not? So, if God goes into the Earth and made the Earth what it is, He put everything in place, right? And then He took Adam, put him into the ground, and then He went inside of Adam and pulled out Eve. Okay, everything is going in, out.
Yeah.
So if that's the pattern, then men have to understand this one thing. To get over all of that guilt, carrying all of that trauma, carrying all of that stuff, you got to learn to go inside yourself, bruh. So that means a lot of guys say, oh, I can't go deep. Or I can't go deep. Man, that's just too deep. Dog, you too deep.
Right.
So that means you ain't got no scuba gear, dog? You can't go down there low? You can't go down in that trench record?
I'm not willing to, bro. It hurts. It hurts.
It hurts, huh? It hurts, huh? So you want to keep you living the same life that's already hurting you instead of going down to the source to where it hurts and let God get that surgery in you to go on ahead and pull all that stuff up so you can get it out of you so you can be better. You know what I'm saying?
Not
like
double-edged sword.
Oh, gee, dual nature. There it is. Double-edged sword.
Not the double-edged sword.
Yeah, man. People can keep pounding their chest and not understand the process of oh, yeah, I did have that problem.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, most men who are narcissistic and who do abusive behavior is because of the fact that it was done to them, or they're doing it to themselves first.
Exactly.
So the concept is understanding is that you got to learn how to this is the reason why God has to be the center of all relationships. God has to be the center of your relationship first with yourself. If he's not the center of yourself, then you definitely don't have him in the center of nobody else.
Yeah, no.
Goes
Well,
back to the dual natures, man.
we're gonna have to do part 2 of this one because there's a couple more scriptures left, man. What do you want to leave for the fellas today, for the men today, man? What do you want them to walk away with today?
I want them to understand that give me a minute, because I'm being downloaded right now.
Okay.
Because it's a lot, and I want to sum it up in one word.
Yeah. And you know, for those of you who are watching, we appreciate you for tuning in today. Again, these episodes right now are twice a month, so we will come back to continue this because we just painted the picture for you today, because there's a lot more levels to this conversation. So it's nothing that you can just resolve in 90 minutes, right? So we appreciate y'all for listening.
Most important thing I would say is Devon Franklin said it in a sermon in one of his motivational speeches. I had got his book when I first got to LA and the summer of 2019. He said if we could focus more on being instead of doing, we could possibly have the peace that has been invading us.
I know that to be true.
So I recommend all men across the nation, across the world, get to really see who you are, face who you are. If you have to break down, break down. If you have to cry, cry. If you have to ball up, ball up. But stop tipping at the sword and just start going in to get the surgery done because you need that. God is trying to tell you to heal. He's trying to get inside of you, but you keep blocking him out. It's going to hurt to let him in. But guess what? Once he's in you, you'll see the healing. That is the process. And in that process, God is going to work wonders in your life. And you're going to see yourself you're going to shed away that you are being oppressed by. And you're going to soar. But you got to first let him in. If you don't let him in, it's not going to work.
And to let him in, you got to be willing. You got to be that first beatitude, which is you got to be able to tell the truth that to yourself that you realize that you need God.
Poor
and not
spirit.
not the religious God, but the relationship.
The relationship with spiritual understanding of God. You got to have it. And that comes.
The world has weaponized religion so much that people they're in the religious world, they're searching for God, but not the relationships of who they get to be. That's what I'm saying. I agree with you because it's the being. And so for me, that poor spirit is that first one. You got to be willing to tell you the truth that you don't know everything, that you can't control everything, that you can't fix everything, and you don't have to pretend like you have it all figured out. And then that's you can realize that, okay, I need God for this part
and
of my life.
I'm going to help everybody out with this religious problem. I can't stand religion. I'm not into religious politics. I say that openly on this forum. I do not care. I call myself a Christian, yes, because I identify with Jesus Christ and the Christian faith. Most importantly, I identify with Jesus' teachings.
Yeah.
Not just because I go to church and I follow a pastor who reads the Bible. No, I follow Jesus' teachings. And I'm going to break it down right now. Somebody told me one time, the Bible is not religious. That's the issue.
Right.
And I'm going to read the scripture that proves it. And was the word, the Bible, and the word was with God, not with man who created religion. And the word was God, not man that created religion. Religion was created by man and inspired by God, but man is flawed. So technically, it's a failed attempt to really reach God's glory.
Yeah, still searching. They're searching.
So therefore, there's the reality. Black and white. John 1:1.
Done deal. Man, I appreciate you, man. Again, I appreciate you, man, for encouraging these conversations, man, with me on this platform today, bro. We will be back again. I'm looking at the 25th or the 26th, whatever day that is.
24th. If you want
No.
to count, no, 26, 26.
26, yeah.
14
So
days.
26, we'll figure out that. We'll continue this conversation with the other scriptures, right? For that episode over there.
I got you.
Got you.
It's deep. These things
Yeah.
can't all be. Rome wasn't conquered in a day, and then we talk about dual nature.
Yeah.
You know,
We right now we peeled off a layer of that and painted a picture for them, for people to. At the end of the day, for me, you got to be willing. Even if you're gonna go to mental health, even if you to say I want to go to mental health classes or personal development classes or whatever, that grief counseling, you got to be willing. You got to look at yourself like, I don't know what this is, and I'm willing to go and learn about it. You got to be willing.
That part, I did that when I was 21. When I found out I had these issues, I was like, let me go research this myself. And they were like, you're crazy. How do you know you're crazy if you're crazy? I said, because I'm smart enough and God gave me the enlightenment enough to understand there's something wrong and I want it fixed.
Hey, I'm tired of living like this. We appreciate y'all for listening to it in today. Catch us on all the social media platforms. If you want to rewatch this episode, go wherever you get your podcast, talk shows, download it. Again, we are out of here. We appreciate your time and your listening. Be blessed, my brother. I'll talk to you in a little bit.
Yes, sir. God bless.
Zetovia salve, made from natural and organic ingredients, good for inflammation, poor circulation, hemorrhoids, yeast infection, lip sores, dry coughs, eye pain, minor cuts and bruises, and ready to purchase at botanicaherbalco.com. 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 Do you remember studying sickle cell in biology class? What's the Count on Sickle Cell Trait Prevention is here to bring you awareness, education, and prevention conversations around the risk factors of this inherited gene. Visit wdconsct.org.
Muchos de nosotros nos vemos afectados por la enfermedad de células falciformes a diario y un número creciente simplemente no nos damos cuenta. Los impactos de esta enfermedad afectan a todas las personas y en especialmente a las personas de color y con antecedentes diversos. Estar en servicio conmigo y con los demás a medida que creamos una mayor conciencia sobre cómo identificar y dirigir el tratamiento de los rasgos de células falciformes y ayudar a las familias a saber cómo superar el trastorno de células falciformes.
Hi, I'm Beaker with Military Broadcast Radio TV. We're your virtual MWR, bringing veterans radio, podcasts, gaming, animation, 3D printing, and a community that never leaves you behind. Download our Roku or mobile app today.
Wisdom to share if you listen this week, so pull up a chair and stay for a spell. We're heading down a trail where good stories dwell.